Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be going over the Behringer 2600. Now, this synth came out, I believe it was last year or just the year before in like September, December. Can't remember exactly when it did come out, but it is a newer synth. And this is Behringer's clone of the world-renowned ARP 2600. Now, I picked up this synthesizer because I love sound design. That's all it comes down to. And I've been watching videos of like the ARP 2600 for many years, and it just kind of always fascinated me and its whole architecture and just kind of like the weird textures and sounds you can get out of this synth just really piqued my interest. And ever since I picked it up, it has been, in a sense, my first go-to. I find it is a great synth for, how should I say, just kind of getting those initial ideas down. It's obviously great for ARPs, and I'm finding it really good for the weird kind of background synth effects, so to say. I recently just finished an EP, which is going to hopefully come out this year. And I tried to focus a lot on using the 2600. So there's going to be lots of sound examples of the 2600 and how I use it in my music coming out whenever that EP comes out. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to stay posted on the updates of when my music is coming out and when all my videos come out, which is usually Sunday. Thank you so far, everyone, for watching, subscribing, and leaving me your comments. It's been awesome to just hear everyone's little tidbits on what pieces of gear they're using with their synths, like what controllers, how they like to use synths. Like, it's amazing to see such a vast synthesizer community out there in the world. We obviously all share a big passion for the same things, so it's great to connect with you all. So yes, with all this said, let's get into it. Okay, so here is the Behringer 2600. Looks a little intimidating at first. There are a lot of little sliders and switches, and right now I have quite a few cables plugged in. But we'll briefly go over what's going on with this synth and why I use it, how I use it. As I did say before, I am quite new to the 2600, so I'm still kind of learning the ins and outs of this synth. First off, it is massive. My hand right there, it is a big synth, so you need a lot of room to fit this in your studio. But yes, let's go over basically the little layout here. So first off, this little section here, you've got oscillator 1, oscillator 2, oscillator 3, and then you get into your filter section, which has kind of like the volumes for like the ring mod, the 3 oscillators, and then a couple other things where you can send, in a sense, the voltage that's coming from the designated places into the filter. And then from the filter, I believe it goes then into the ADSR generator. So this has an actual ADSR and then an AR, which is just attack and release generator. And then moving on over, you've got your little amplifier section, or the mixer section, as I like to explain it, where basically you can kind of designate what's being sent to the final mixer section, that then gets sent to the reverb and then into the output. And then moving on down here, you've got a portamento, you've got an LFO with vibrato, you've got a little preamp section so you can drive things, you've got a ring mod, a noise generator, and then a voltage processor down here, which is actually quite handy. And then lastly, a sample and hold. Now, just before we get started, I'll explain what's going on here. So just down below the camera, there's a BeatStep Pro. This orange cable is technically the pitch CV, which is going into a multi and then gets split into the 3 keyboard CV plugs right here. And then this black cable, that's basically my gate CV, which is coming out of the Beatstep Pro also, and that technically goes into the AR generator, but that also gets sent to the ADSR as well. So let's just get some noise off of oscillator 1, and I'll kind of explain what's all going on here. So to get noise out of this machine, basically you have to turn up your oscillator 1 on the filter section, and then what you would want to do is turn up your VCF on the VCA section, turn up either the ADSR, the AR, or both. In this case, I'm just going to do both, and then technically you'd have to turn up your VCA in the mixer section that then gets sent to the output. So when I hit a key here, right now all you're hearing is just a very simple square wave. So right off the bat, very decent oscillators on this. So basically every oscillator has a little frequency modulator section, as well as like the oscillators 2 and 3 have a pulse width modulation section. So on oscillator 1, there's a hard patch for the sample and hold, the ADSR, and the LFO as a frequency modulation source. Off the bat, that's got some lovely harmony. So what's happening there is the sample and hold is adjusting the pitch, same with the ADSR, and the LFO is also modulating the pitch. Quite like that already. Okay, let's just move on over to oscillator 2. Now say I wanted to add a bit of what should I do for this one? Let's do a bit of a saw wave. So turn up our saw. Right off the bat, it's out of tune. So this is where you would kind of like fine tune it. Nice little girthy kind of voicey kind of sound there. Very girthy indeed. Okay, so let's add a bit more sub to this. So this is where a sine wave would be great out of oscillator 3. So this is where I patch in a sine wave into the mixer section here. Right now, can't hear anything. I think that's in tune there. That might be kind of actually cool to modulate the volume of that one. We'll do that eventually. Okay, so that's a very girthy sound. Let's focus on this oscillator. Very girthy bass. Now I'm just going to set the BeatStep Pro to an ARP. And just going to hold this note for now. And let's play a bit with the filter. Now, as I complained with on the Behringer Neutron, the filter and the way the resonance work together is not quite to my liking. Like, for example, on the low end of this, when you turn up the resonance, you start to lose a lot of the low end, and it starts to kind of like ring mod in a sense. Not my cup of tea, but it does the trick, I guess. So there's two filter modes on this. You've got a 4012 and a 4072. Both got just a little bit of a different color to them. Okay, so let's leave it like there for now. Let's add a little bit of ring mod to this. So right now the ring mod is set to audio rate, so it's going to be coming from a square or a saw of VCO1 and then the sine of VCO2. So that's basically what the ring mod sounds like at the moment. A little bit dirty there. Let's turn down VCO1 on the ring mod. Do a little bit of noise on this too. So you have the ability to go from a low frequency noise to pink to white. So it goes through a spectrum. That kind of sounds like Pink Floyd. Okay, so yeah, let's leave it there. That's something cool and different. Now the keyboard CV, this kind of relates to how the frequency cutoff relates to the filter. And then the ADSR also does the same as well. So as you can kind of hear, just messing around with like the CV that's going into that little filter section can give you lots of like sonic opportunities, so to say. Yes, this is where you just kind of get lost in this synth. Just having a good time on this synth. This is a really hard video to cover this synth because it is so in depth. There's so much going on. Like, for example, you can just have a drone off of the VCF instead of using like an envelope. You can also add a bit of reverb, which adds some great depth in the stereo field. It's not the cleanest reverb, but it does the trick. Very nice to just add it subtly in. I honestly do not know of another synth that I can just sit down here for like hours and noodle around until I come up with something like as weird as this. Like, it's atonal, very atonal. I don't even know what key this would be in, but it's got some it's got harmony to it. This synth just has so much, in a sense, soul inside of it that it just blows my mind with what it does. So this synth there is so much to cover. And as you can kind of tell, I just kind of got lost in that patch here. And that is the joys of this synth. It is immense. Like, just the sound character you can come up with. You can also use like a bunch of different, in a sense, pitch inputs into this to kind of have, like, in a sense, 3 different sequences if you wanted, 3 different note sequences off of 3 oscillators. Just the whole general layout. Once you get your head around what's going on with this synth, it is an absolute joy to play on. And for the, what is it, $700 you can get one of these used for. It's an absolute steal. Like, the sound quality is pretty top notch. The build quality is top notch. The faceplate is a little cheesy with the colors and everything, but that was kind of true to the ARP as well. It had like the weird color scheme going on with the orange on the black, the original ones did. So by having the little cheesy LEDs in there, it just makes it easy to see things quickly at a glance where everything is and just explore and have fun. I think that is the joys of this synth, and I would almost suggest this as like a good intermediate semi-modular synth to get yourself into if you're looking to get into more advanced patching in the semi-modular world. Like, we covered the Behringer Neutron. You can get advanced with that, but it is kind of very basic. The Moog DFAM, also very basic in regards to patching. This is a good intermediate level synth to just kind of learn and understand CV and have a ton of fun doing it at the same time. So how does one even score the 2600? There really is nothing like it that does the same sonic characters as the 2600. The Behringer clone, I've never personally heard an original 2600, so I can't really speak to how true a recreation it is. But as a synthesizer on its own, carrying the 2600 name, I think at the price point, you cannot go wrong with the 2600. I would give it, honestly, probably an 18 out of 20. The only downfall of this is just like the reverb that's on it is a very digital reverb. You can't really manipulate it too much. That's really only its downfall. Sometimes it's a little buggy too with how it plays on the BeatStep Pro. Like, if you accidentally hit two of the same notes for some reason, that note will now cancel out the CV. I don't know if that's just me having user error or what the deal is. It happens. So yeah, that's the only real downfall of the Behringer 2600. I would suggest go out and buy one and just have fun exploring, like you saw me in this video, just having fun creating noise. So yes, go out and buy one. So yes, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the Behringer 2600. Do you have one in your studio, or what would you suggest otherwise for a person like me who has a lot of synths? You've seen actually pretty much all of them now. I have covered every single synth in this room, surprisingly. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what I should look at next. So yes, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And until next week, where we are going to be covering the Eventide H9 Harmonizer pedal, I hope you guys enjoyed the week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!